Banks are fighting to stop you from earning yield on your own dollars because if you did, they'd go out of business. They call it protection, but really it's protection for them, not you. We're going to go into how they're doing this and what this means to you. Stay with me until the end because I'm going to show you the secret backdoor that can pay you 9, 20, even 100% per year on your dollars. This is something no bank will ever give you. All right, let's get into this video. Okay, so let's talk about the first place where you could actually earn yield. So there's multiple different places where you can actually make some money here just by buying a stablecoin. Okay, so we have stablecoins like SFRAX and SUSDE, which are the ones that are paying the most amount of money right now, that are giving you a yield of 9.20%. Just you buy it, you hold it, and they're giving you a yield. Now, some of it entails like different strategies. They don't just take the yield from, let's say, for instance, the money that they're making from the bonds. They actually whip in some other things, like some other profits that they're making with the protocol. And it's very complex. I'm not going to get into it today, but this is why you're seeing higher yield than just like, let's say, for instance, if you went and you ended up buying a bond or something like that. So as this goes down, though, that means like the protocol might not be quite as lucrative at that point in time. But you can see here, these are the two best ones that are paying the highest yield. And this is fantastic. I mean, this is what, according to whoever you're watching, this is outpacing inflation by a lot. Now, the real inflation, who knows? The government has gotten so wishy-washy about their numbers anymore. Like, who knows what you can trust anymore? But you know, according to this would probably be like the lower end of inflation, because I know a lot of people, especially living in the US, where they're like, no way, my bills, all of my bills went up by 25, 30%. My grocery bill went up by 100%. I had a student say that the other day. I don't live in the US, so I'm not seeing that level of inflation. We are seeing some inflation here throughout Latin America, but it's not that much. Guys, gals, real quick, in the description is a link to our course. If you want to learn the things that we're about to teach you here, go ahead and click on that link. It is well worth it. We're liberating people from this dystopian system, from the system that doesn't want you to advance, into a place where you can advance, where you can keep up with inflation and then some. So anyways, there's a link down below. I prepared a video for you to watch. Watch it and check it out. And if you're interested, you can always sign up.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
So, all right, check this out. Here's another yield on EtherFi. I've done a video on EtherFi right here if you want to check that video out. That's paying 11.1%, so slightly higher. And this, you can actually spend against this with a Visa card that they've given to you, which is really, really, really cool. So not only are you earning this money, but you're also earning money to spend it on credit, which is 3% for everything that you spend on EtherFi. So you put it here, you start getting that yield. You know, I would probably say go with this here, this liquid ETH yield, which is about 5.6% that you get on your Ethereum. But Ethereum is probably going to be going up over time. And if you're a Bitcoin maxi or you like Bitcoin, you can also do this and get 3.2%. That's fantastic. But I do think these are the assets that are going to continue to appreciate, not this one. Okay, so we can see here, I've talked about this particular strategy before in the past, where you can actually lend out your Curve USD here for 23% per year, all right? This is against this squid collateral, very safe in my opinion. And then it drops down if you want to do it for Frax, which is another volatile coin. People are borrowing it for 12%, of which you get a large portion of that. So this is pretty darn good. On your stable coins, you're earning 23%. Let that sink in. Like, that's a lot of money on an annual basis. If you invest, you know, $10,000, you're getting 23% back. Like, that's like an average return on like Facebook over the last like 7 or 8 years, which is great. But the best part about it is there's no risk of it going down. The stable coin will just basically stay flat. It will not go above or below $1, but it will go down in terms of inflationary pressure. Now, this is the last one. This is a very complex one that you have to make sure you are very, 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 very careful with, which is an app called Contango that uses leverage to invest. But you can see like right here, this is one with TUSDE that you're able to like borrow and lend against USDC on this. That is using 11x leverage, which is way too high for my appetite because this could go against you very quickly. But look at this, 105% if you want to get very aggressive. Usually you're going to lose that game. I wouldn't go past like 3x, but look at this. Even at 3x, you're earning 34.84%. Now, if you start to, the more leverage you start to use, the more, interest you can make, 52%, but the more risk you start to take. So based off of the research that I've done, you typically don't want to go too much higher. Now, you might be saying like, well, Gavin, why is it that not everybody's jumping into this? Well, you can see right here, there's only a certain amount of money that can go into that pool that's going to pay you that. And so in this case, it's only $2,600. But over here, because this one has not filled up, this one you have 1.3 million. Now, it'll fill up relatively quickly. So you do have to, be watching out. But, these are great, great, great returns. Again, you have to understand this a little bit more. And these are the sorts of things that we talk about in our course, not just this, but various different things that we can show you how you can actually make yield on just your dollars. If you want to be conservative in crypto, it's not all about meme coins. So again, click on that link below, get signed up with us. We want to show you where the real money is being made out in the world right now. Here we've got article after article basically talking about why the banks are afraid you're going to ditch them for stablecoins. And justifiably so. Here we've talked a lot about how these banks really were created through the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve has screwed every single thing up. Now, what they're afraid of here is their monopoly on your money. Because here's the worst part about the banks. The banks take your money, they end up taking those deposits and investing it, and they're the ones that make the yield. They don't have any obligation to pass that yield on to you. And so what they do is they'll put it into a bond or an investment property or the stock market or wherever it is that they want to put it in. And they make that yield of anywhere between, let's say, like 5 and 9% or 20% in some cases, if the stock market's really hot that year, and they don't give you any of that. And that's how banks make money. It's really, really messed up. And in fact, they can actually take that money up to 97%. Let that sink in. They can take up to 97% of your money and basically give you like a derivative that you can spend. But then what ends up happening is they create money out of thin air, and then they also lend it to people in the form of a car loan, a credit card, and a home loan, making, again, anywhere between, 5 and 30% in some cases for credit cards. So now what they're doing is the banks are lobbying to block stablecoin interest over fears of deposit flight. Well, yeah, like you have to be competitive nowadays, and especially with inflation where it's at. So they've been basically paying their top lobbyists to go to Washington to say, listen, once this DeFi thing gets out of the bag, like we're going out of business. And I actually think that within the next 5 to 10 years, unless they start to get competitive, they are going to go out of business. And especially, again, with things with like AI, the post-labor economics, inflation, like us as the customers, we need to be keeping more of that money. And this is what I've been doing for many, many years now, like almost more than 5 years in DeFi. But check this out. They just keep doing things like this. Banks are pushing to change new U.S. stablecoin rules over fears they will spark trillions of dollars worth of outflows, underlining growing competition between Wall Street and the cryptocurrency industry. However, crypto exchanges will be able to indirectly offer interests and rewards to holders of stablecoins that are issued by third parties such as Circle or Tether. So that's great. Banks fear this would create an uneven playing field. Yeah, like they haven't had an uneven playing field tilted toward their way for almost over 100 years now. Playing field and spark mass deposit outflows away from them. If your business isn't a good business model and somebody's got a better business model than you, well, then you're going to go out of business. Like, that's just the way it works all around the world, right? So if customers choose to earn yield by holding stable coins at crypto exchanges rather than coins or cash dollars at banks, yeah, exactly. So this is essentially what they're saying. They're saying that there's flight risk and opportunity costs. So the Treasury Department issued a report in April estimating that stablecoins could lead to as much as $6.6 trillion in deposit outflows, depending on whether stablecoins are able to offer interest or yield. With affiliates of stablecoin issuers or exchanges still being able to pay interest on stablecoins, the risk of significant deposit flight is even greater. Why it matters. Banks power the economy. They kind of like screw the economy up. Come on, give me a break. Banks power the economy by turning deposits into loans, incentivizing a shift from the bank deposits and money market funds to stablecoins would end up increasing lending costs and reducing loans to businesses and consumer households. I mean, probably what would happen if $6.6 trillion left the banks and started going into all these other places? Who do you think might be providing the loans? And who do you think might be providing the loans at a cheaper rate? Yeah, you guessed it. Like the DeFi providers or the centralized exchanges, which I am not a fan of the centralized exchanges. Now, the EU is even more dystopian. You are not able to pay any sort of stablecoin yield in the EU. It really sucks. In fact, they're making a lot of even the DeFi protocols geo-fence, making sure that like people can't come in if you're logging in through that. But if you have a VPN, you can do it anyways. And to be quite honest with you, it's your money. Why should the government be telling you how to spend it? So anyways, I'll see you guys on the next video. Hopefully you learned something. Cheers.